In the year 2000, the layout of a single piece of paper derailed a United States presidential election. Thousands of voters intended to vote for Al Gore, but followed the confusing arrows and accidentally punched the hole for Pat Buchanan. You've likely experienced this same baffling text yourself: a dense academic abstract, a labyrinth of legal terms, or a portable generator warning label that seems to hide the fact that using it indoors will kill you. Incomprehensible professional prose is a systemic barrier. It drains billions of dollars in wasted time, triggers legal disputes, and causes immense friction in our daily lives. When confronted with terrible writing, our first instinct is usually to suspect foul play. We assume academics and bureaucrats are employing a deliberate corporate strategy, using dense gibberish to cover their liabilities or fake intellectual depth. But there is a useful mental model for diagnosing human error called Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice what is adequately explained by stupidity. Most terrible writers are actually brilliant, honest people. They aren't trying to hide anything. They are suffering from an invisible, universal cognitive glitch. If we want to fix bad writing, we must stop treating it as an ego problem and start treating it as a psychological malfunction. Psychologists call this glitch the curse of knowledge. It's the biological inability to remember what it feels like to not know something you've already mastered. This chart illustrates a study on technological learning. Researchers asked experienced users how long it would take novices to learn a new device. Experts confidently guessed 13 minutes. It actually took 32 minutes. The experts' brains had completely deleted their own learning curve. When an expert sits down to write, this glitch hijacks their keyboard. They unconsciously skip essential logical steps and use highly specific jargon because their own brain automatically fills in the missing context for them. Deep expertise doesn't automatically make you a better communicator. Biologically speaking, it actually makes you worse. Once that curse takes over, an author stops describing the physical, moving world and starts hiding behind dense abstractions. You can spot this through specific linguistic symptoms. First, zombie nouns. Writers embalm active verbs into dead concepts with suffixes. You don't affirm, you affect its affirmation. Second, the passive voice. Writers drop active characters so events happen on their own, declaring mistakes were made. Finally, there is meta-discourse. This is when an expert wastes paragraphs clearing their throat, writing heavily about the structure of their writing, saying this section will review the concept of, instead of just pointing directly at the subject. These three habits build an opaque wall between the writer and the reader. They obscure ideas rather than transmitting them. The true structural antidote to the curse of knowledge is a mental framework known as classic style. In classic style, the writer and the reader are equals engaged in a conversation. The text is treated as a clear window, and the writer's only job is to position the reader to see a specific truth happening. Theoretical physicist Brian Greene is a master of this approach. He regularly explains mind-bending, highly technical concepts like string theory and the multiverse to non-scientists. Rather than apologizing for the complex math or falling back on academic jargon, he points directly to concrete visual metaphors. To explain the statistical probability of our specific universe existing, he compares it to hunting for your exact shoe size in a massive, well-stocked retail store. Adopting classic style forces the writer out of their own head. It demands that they map abstract, invisible concepts onto physical realities the reader can actually visualize. Effective writing in the 21st century is not about rigidly following 19th century prescriptive grammar rules or living in terror of the passive voice. Writing well is about actively and continuously dismantling your own cognitive biases. Fighting the curse of knowledge is an act of radical empathy. It requires stepping entirely outside your hard-earned expertise to look at the world through the eyes of a complete novice. The next time you sit down to write, assume your reader is exactly as smart as you are. They simply lack the vantage point you currently possess. Your job is not to sound smart. Your job is to clear the glass and show them the world.